The next component we are going to focus on is the poll component. This component will be inside the list, which will display for each poll, so you can think about it as a list item. We start by generating the component using the Angular CLI, writing ng generate component, and we can just call it a poll. After it has been created, we can go inside and delete the test file as we don't need it. Inside the poll component, let's copy paste the selector, put it inside our poll list, and just take this list out and write here app poll just to make sure it works. And we can see our component is inside over here. Now let's think about what we would like to show in the list for each poll. Well, if we go to our types and look at our data structure, we will have the question. So I think to show the question is a good idea. We also have the results, so we can count all of them and show the total number of votes. We can also show the thumbnail if it is there. And I think it's also a good idea to show whether the person voted or not for single poll. So let's start by going to poll HTML and start building the template. For the template, we can again use the bootstrap, and we can start by creating a big div where everything will be inside. We can use a class called card, which has also some predefined styles, and we don't want the cards to be stick to each other, so we give it some margin bottom because it's a list from top to bottom of the polls. Inside we will also probably want to display the image which we mentioned. This one we can wrap in a div, and inside we'll have some image. For now let's leave this empty. Under the image we would like to probably show the poll question. So again we can put this inside the div, and this will be inside the main what's called card body. And inside the card body we can have a paragraph which will be of class card text. These are specific card classes in Bootstrap. And also we want to use text truncate, which will mean it will cut off the text and it will not overflow to the next line if the text would be longer than the HTML component. And inside here we just hardcode some value such as do you like more cats or dogs. So we have the image, we have the question, and we said we would like to also show the number of votes and also whether the person voted or not for this specific poll. So under the title we can insert another div inside which we will have the votes and the text voted. This one we can use small, it's HTML tag, and we can give it a class called text muted, so it will not be visible that much, it would be a bit grayed out, and here we can write 10 votes, and underneath we can also write small, same class, and let's say voted to indicate that the person voted. Currently this would be displayed one next to each other. If we want to display them one in the right corner, one in the left corner, we can just use display flags, justify content between, and this should give us the look. So let's go check out what we have created, and we can see it's starting to look pretty nice. We have our question, number of votes, and indication whether he voted or not. We can also delete this poll works. Let's go back, delete this one. And for the image we can put some sample image. I just copied one from Pexels. Pexels is a website where you can get some free stock images which we can use. And let's take a look now. Well, we can see the image is pretty big, so we want to fit it inside the poll component, so we need to do some styling. We can call the wrapping div poll image, and we can do some styling in the style sheet. In the style sheet we want to give poll image the width 100%, so it will fill up the component, but at the same time we want to give it some max height, so each image has some certain maximum height, which we can say 180 pixels. And inside the poll image we have the actual image tag, and we want to also style this image tag, and that's why we give it the same height, which is 180 pixels. The width will be the same, which we can say just inherit to get it from the parent. The background size we want to be set to cover, so it doesn't matter how tall or width the image is, it will always fit our content, so it will be cut out. The background position is no repeat. Sorry, the background repeat is no repeat, and the background position is 50%, 50%, so it will be exactly in the middle. If we take a look now, then we can see it starting to look pretty nice. We can maybe even make this text title question bold. For that, on our question in the paragraph, we can just use the Bootstrap utility class font weight bold. This will give us the bold look, as we can see now. So we can see the component looks pretty nice. For now we have just hard-coded the values, but we can imagine this would be the list of components which would go one under another, as we shown on the mockup which we were doing previously. Because we have just hard-coded these values in the template, we also need to look at the logic in the TypeScript file, and probably the title, the number of votes, whether you voted or not. Some of them could be input values which we would be getting from the parent